Kane hits 50 for the season as Camavinga's head loss sends Madrid packing. Arsenal snooze their way into the semis. Ekitike suffers a devastating diagnosis, and a fresh scam unveiled at this year's World Cup. This is DMAC Daily. An incredibly entertaining evening of UCL football, unless for some strange reason you opted to watch Arsenal instead. In that case, what were you thinking, bro? But Bayern v Madrid, man, that was UCL heritage, wasn't it now? Two traditional European giants going toe-to-toe, and you just knew it was going to be a classic when Arda Güler pounced on Neuer's error in the first minute and curled it perfectly into an empty net. That set the stage for one of the most action-packed halves of football I can remember in Europe. Bayern equalized in an instant, only for Güler to then curl one into the other top corner. Could Neuer have done better there? I certainly think so. Now, I know the Madrid fans are about to yell at me in a sec, but I gotta say it, that was not a foul to begin with. Diaz completely cons the ref by going to ground before Lima even attempts to make contact. But never mind, 10 minutes later, Bayern hit back, this time through Kane, his 50th goal of the season. Typical Kane goal as well, touch, finish, easy as you like. But this first half was the basketball-like contest that kept on giving. 4 minutes later, Madrid retake the lead, leveling the tie once more. Vini and Mbappe linking up to devastating effect. Mbappe's 40th of the season and his 15th in the UCL, probably his biggest moment of the season. Now, there was a lot of controversy with this goal too. Rudiger objectively fouls Stanisic in the build-up. Within 20 seconds later, the ball is in the back of the net. And considering the attack does start on Stanisic's flank, I'm surprised VAR didn't at least take a look. Man, I am not beating the anti-Madrid allegations today. I'm trying my best here, honestly. The second half was more of the same entertainment, but without the end product to match. Neuer redeeming himself with two big saves, first on Mbappe, what a ball by Trent by the way, and then Valverde's effort shortly after. Bayern also were creating chances too. Diaz's end product was missing for large spells, and Elise was starting to get more involved as this match wore on. It was an incredibly close contest. However, one moment of madness then completely changed the game. Substitute Camavinga, who had already been booked, then did the unthinkable. He gives away a silly foul only to take the ball away. Did bro forget he was already booked? I genuinely think he does in this instance. He was given his subsequent marching orders, advantage Bayern, and boy were they quick to punish Madrid. Luis Diaz was given a yard of space thanks to that Musiala flick, and he did not let it go to waste, blasting it past Lunin in goal. In this instance, Madrid were very unlucky. That deflection off Militao just puts it out of the keeper's reach, and in the final moments, Elise put the nail in Madrid's coffin. The Frenchman was probably instructed to hit the corner flag in the dying embers and simply waste time, but he said, bugger that, I'm just gonna run straight at Mendy and bend one past a helpless Noonan. Just reward for Elise. This man has been brilliant all season. His 47th goal involvement in 43 games, yet none were bigger than this moment. He didn't get on the score sheet in the first leg, but he was the best on the ground at the Bernabeu, and today he gets his crowning moment. It's crazy to think that the former Reading man is now a genuine contender for the Ballon d'Or. Realistically, I think Yamal is the only winger performing at his level for the totality of 25-26. It's been a special campaign for the Frenchman. It's been a special season for companies Bayern. They're a shoo-in for the Bundesliga now. They're probably going to complete the domestic treble, and UCL glory is also within reach. You can only imagine that that semi-final tie v PSG will be electric. As for Real Madrid, I think that's a wrap for the season. 9 points behind in La Liga and out of the remaining cup competitions. For what it's worth, they certainly gave it an almighty effort in the UCL. For all their woes on the pitch this season, they pushed Bayern all the way tonight. It'll be incredibly frustrating in the end to think that a silly moment from Camavinga changed everything. The big question mark that remains now is what next for Arbeloa? It seems relatively unlikely that he will be in charge beyond this season. He hasn't been terrible, but Florentino Perez isn't a patient man. Alonso barely lasted 6 months after all. There's a lot of big names that could come into, so we'll see what happens. And now in the other UCL game today, and as stated earlier, a rather uneventful snooze fest sees Arsenal progress to the Champions League semi-finals. If I'm being charitable to Arteta's side, it's job done. They did what they needed to in the first leg and didn't crumble in their return fixture. That's got to be a relief considering their recent woes in the League Cup final, then the FA Cup, and of course the Premier League over the weekend. So hey, the double is still alive and well, right? But yet again, it's another performance that underwhelmed. Another performance at home where Arsenal looked so devoid of ideas from open play. I know it's super easy to be critical of this club right now. I'm no saint in the Arsenal hate watch department, but if I'm being completely sincere here, I think Arsenal are in huge trouble. Arteta has a terrible record in April. Always the bride, am I right? But it's the confidence crisis and inability to create chances from open play that has me completely baffled. Just one shot on target today. Another match day where their only realistic threat came via set pieces. They were still solid at the back, solid in midfield, that much is expected, but toothless once again going forward, from both the starters and substitutes. Now one could argue, well, Arteta's executed these types of performances all season, but there's been a noticeable drop-off in the final third in the last month. That much is clear. Hardly a confidence booster heading into this weekend. City will surely back themselves. Focusing on Sporting though, and they'll no doubt be gutted. They've had a fantastic European season, originally qualifying for the knockouts automatically, reaching the quarters for the first time in 43 years. They gave a great account of themselves in this tie too. After all, their squad is of significantly less value than Arsenal's, and they were a perennial threat throughout both legs. Raya pulled off some big saves in the first leg. They hit the post today and kept pushing till the final kick of the game, but that's a wrap on their European dream, sadly. So the stage is now set. Bayern versus PSG, that's gonna be crazy, and then Atletico Madrid v Arsenal. Now everyone assumes this will be the ultimate haram ball contest, but I remind you, Arsenal smashed Atletico Madrid 4-0 earlier this season, and Simeone's side have changed quite a bit since January. They're an organized team, at times pragmatic. We saw that in the first leg v Barca, but leg 2, they showed a lot of attacking prowess, so don't immediately assume this will be another punishing watch. Staying in English football news, and Liverpool have been dealt another devastating blow. As if exiting the UCL wasn't painful enough, well, it's now been confirmed that Hugo Ekitike, who suffered an injury in that second leg defeat, has been diagnosed with a ruptured Achilles tendon. Arne Slot, when initially asked about Ekitike's fate, said, "I will be surprised if there are any more minutes this season." Well, I can pretty much guarantee you now, he's not only set to miss the final month of club football, but his World Cup dream is gone. When we talk about the worst injuries in football, the dreaded ACL springs to mind first, right? But anyone who has suffered an Achilles tendon rupture firsthand will vouch that this specific injury is a nightmare to fully recover from. You're almost certainly looking at 8 to 12 months out, and scariest of all, it can permanently compromise your body. I remember it happened to Kimpembe a few years back, and it took him like 2 years or so to recover, and he was never the same player after that injury. Hopefully, that's not the case with Ekitike. He's younger and still has access to some of the best medical personnel in the entire world, but a brutal blow for him nonetheless. He's been Liverpool's best attacking player this season and looked destined to have a big role in that front squad, but such is life in football. Speaking of the World Cup, and guys, I gotta be honest here, reporting on the 2026 World Cup is becoming nauseating at times, because even for the commercialized dystopia that is the United States today, I'm just stunned by the blatant greed that persists in unison with FIFA. I've talked at length in the past about the outrageous ticket pricing schemes, how FIFA systematically manipulated ticket categories to con fans who purchased tickets previously. This is beyond egregious stuff. The greatest sporting spectacle on the planet has evidently turned into the ultimate money grab. The latest example, though, is even more clear-cut in transportation. In the previous 3 World Cups, transport to and from stadiums was completely free. But in 2026, different story. At the center of the controversy is New Jersey Transit, which is reportedly planning to raise return train fares from New York's Penn Station to over $100, up from the standard $12.90 fee. That represents a staggering 775% increase for an 18-mile journey, applied universally too, with no discounts for children, seniors, or disabled passengers. Even worse, access to trains will be restricted to match ticket holders only during specific time windows. The issue is not isolated either. Similar price hikes have been reported in other host cities too. It's not a good look. You can almost guarantee it's going to be implemented across the board. Democratic Senator from New York, Chuck Schumer, accused FIFA of a shakedown and called on them to subsidize these costs directly. FIFA are projected to generate at least $11 $11 billion in revenue for this tournament after all, yet has shown little to no willingness to contribute towards local infrastructure needs or transport costs associated. The audacity of FIFA is beyond insane, man. These cronies just cannot help themselves. Nothing is off limits when it comes to generating revenue at the expense of the fans. The grift is just so transparent. I feel sorry for the average football fan that wants to attend this tournament, that perhaps saved up diligently to afford it all, because you're just being robbed, plain and simple. Anyways, guys, that's all for today's DMAC Daily. Thanks for tuning in as always, and I'll see you next time.